Fu, and I'm a second-year automotive mechanic apprentice at Monash University. Today my client David has brought in his car for a general inspection to clear paperwork for a roadworthy certificate. The results of this inspection shall be kept confidential and will be passed directly on to David. So here we have a Honda Integra Type S, manufactured in 2006. The car is a two-door, four-seater coupe and is magnesium in colour. The transmission is a 6-speed manual transmission. The engine is a 4-cylinder petrol engine with a capacity of 2.0 litres. The odometer reads 93,000. Upon general inspection of the bodywork of the car, there is no significant major damage to any of the panels, such as dents. The overall paint condition appears healthy. There are no evidence of any significant scratches, rust or sun damage. There are no modifications to the exterior of the car. So I will now be popping up the hood to expose the engine damage. Firstly, I will be looking for obvious signs of damage, which isn't present. There's also no major rust. The engine does not appear to be tampered by with any aftermarket modifications. I will now look at the head of the cylinders, which is over here, looking for signs of oil leakage, which will indicate damage to the valve cover gaskets. So that's not present, but I'll confirm this by checking underneath the car, and there's also no oil leakage. I'll also look along the radiator for signs of leakage as well. So there appears to be no leakages in this engine. I will now proceed on to checking the vital signs of the car. Firstly, I'll switch the car on, and I'll look at the dashboard for any warning lights, such as the oil pressure light, the check engine light, and the low battery indicator. The temperature gauge shows that the car is idling at a normal temperature. The tachometer shows that the car is idling at 1000 revs per minute, which is normal. Now I'll be using the oil dipstick to check the engine oil level of the oil pan. So firstly I'll remove the dipstick and wipe down the indicator bar. Just give it a wipe down, and then I'll reinsert it all the way in and hold it there for a second. And then I'll pull this back out and read the reading. So as you can see, the oil level is above the indicator line, which indicates that there's sufficient oil within the oil pan. The oil is brown in colour and thin in consistency, which indicates that the oil is fresh. If the oil was jet black and thick, this would indicate that the oil is old and burnt, and this will require an oil change and a change of the oil filter. So now I'll be looking at the radiator coolant level, the power steering fluid level, the brake fluid level, the clutch fluid level, and the windshield wiper fluid level. So all these readings are good. And now I'll be looking at the battery. So firstly, I'll be looking for a green light, indicating a good battery lifespan. And then I'll just also be looking for signs of leaking battery acid, which is not present. So now I'll move on to inspecting the wheels. Here we have the driver's side front wheel. There's significant gutter rash along the edges of the rim, although there appears to be no air leakage. Now I'll remove the tyre stem valve cap to check for the air pressure. The recommended air pressure of these tyres indicated on the side wall of the tyres is 31 psi. So now let's plug in the tyre pressure reader, and the tyre pressure reader indicates that these tyres are pumped up at 31 psi, which is good. Now I'll move on to checking for the thread of these tyres. So now I'll be feeling for the indicator line, and the thread of these tyres are above the indicator line, which indicates that these tyres have sufficient traction for safety use on the road. I will now repeat this process with the remaining 3 wheels. Following this, I will look for excessive white smoke coming out of the exhaust with the engine turned on. So there appears to be no excessive white smoke coming out of the exhaust tip. This excessive white smoke would indicate overheating, and as a result of a cracked cylinder head, cracked cylinder block, or a head gasket failure. Now I will be assessing the clutch and the gearbox. I will be changing gears to feel for any grinding and notchy shifting, which would indicate either low gearbox fluid or a worn out gearbox. So firstly I'll be pressing in the clutch and shifting to gear 1. Gear 1 engages smoothly, and now shifting to gear 2, transition into gear 2 is smooth, gear 3 which is also smooth, gear 4, gear 5 and gear 6. So all 6 gears engaged smoothly, and now checking for the reverse gear. The reverse gear also engages smoothly. The clutch also operates really well, and there is no signs of wear of the clutch, such as slippage. So now I'll turn on the car to have a listen to the operating engine. The operating noise of the engine is normal and runs smoothly. There are no additional sounds, such as screeching, which would indicate damage to the serpentine belt of the alternator. There are also no other additional sounds, such as a distinctive clicking noise, which would indicate damage to the upper valve train. In my examination, there were no significant positive findings that would impair the car's functioning or the car's safety rating. If there were concerns with the engine's health, an investigation I would use is a compression test to check the engine's cylinder compressions. To diagnose any suspected problems, a scan tool could be used. If there were problems with the car, then I would refer it on to a specialist, such as a panel beater, an automotive electrician, an automotive mechanic, a wheel and tyre specialist, an exhaust specialist, or a transmission and gearbox specialist. This concludes my examination, and all findings shall be forwarded to David.